It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict. Today we are sitting down with Angie's House, and Angie Lozano, Executive Director of Angie's House, is in studio. For more information, angieshouseaz.com for all of the services that they do, also to help out, or 928-301-2169. So Angie, thanks for coming in this morning.
Glad to be here.
So for those who might not be familiar with Angie's House, explain what it is and how it got started.
Well, back in 2000, let's see, I had a couple of rental properties and I had some residents that were having some trouble paying rent and utilities at the same time. So what I did is I combined it. So I included rent with utilities to make it easier for the individuals to pay that. And then slowly over the years, I started to have residents that needed some help with addiction. I had senior citizens that were coming to me that needed safe housing, but that would allow pets. And then I also had my mental illness residents that just needed a safe, supportive place to be. They were able to live on their own, but it was better if they didn't. They lived more communally. So over the years, the last 16, going on 17 years, we've been doing that. We've provided housing for low-income individuals in the Verde Valley.
Wow. So currently now, do you have multiple houses?
Yes, we currently have 10 homes, including a homeless shelter. Oh, wow. Yes.
Wow, that's going to be. So what were you doing before? How did you get involved in this? I mean,
well, it was an interesting story. I actually was a CFO, was a corporate accounting for many years, and then I lost my job in 2000. And I said, "Wow, what am I going to do? I really don't want to move out of the area because I love the Verde Valley. I had my family here." So I said, "Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this." And I was going to do my rental properties for a little bit, and then that took off into a whole different direction. But wow, it's been a really amazing journey.
Yeah.
And I've been able to help a lot of people.
I was just going to say, I mean, that has to be pretty rewarding.
Very rewarding.
So in terms of services, you mentioned some of it, but of course providing housing and addiction help, I guess, as well, and support, really. It seems like that's really the big part of it. But in addition to those things, what other services do you offer, and kind of who are you helping out with this?
Yes, like for instance, where they're homeless individuals, they're needing a place to sleep at night, a safe place to sleep, and it's become more of a senior citizen population and my veterans that are actually needing housing, as well as families, which has been a real shift from about 5 years ago when it was more of a younger set of individuals needing housing, immediate housing. And then I have my recovery homes, which are men and women of all ages. I have 4 of those. I have 2 for men and 2 for women. And the neat thing about us is we're able to immediately house them. So they call us, they need to come in, they want to come in and get help, they're able to move right in that day.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so there's no waiting list, there's no application process, it simply starts with a phone call. Because when someone needs help, they need it now. They, not put in an application, get an interview, and then 3 weeks later maybe come in. When they're needing help, they need it today.
So how do you make contact with these people? Are they recommended to you? Are you out kind of seeking them out, or how do you get in touch with them? Well, the neat
thing is that we work with the court system. So we work with therapeutic courts, drug court, DUI court, mental health court, the alternative sentencing program, and then we also work with local social service agencies that will refer an individual that's needing some support and structure for their addiction.
Okay, let's talk about that alternative sentencing, because just about a year ago you were in here with Cottonwood Police Chief Steve Gazelle talking about that, and of course, the Cottonwood Police Department really trying to get a handle on the homeless population and just trying to figure out what services they need to help them out. And alternative sentencing was kind of the topic last year. How is that going? And again, talk about that partnership.
Yeah, it started in March of 2016, which I can't believe it's basically going to be a year that we've been doing this. But we've had a lot of success stories. And the neat thing is our collaboration. So McJordan, Mike Shaw, the police department, the court system, Spectrum, myself, we all work together, collaborating to help the individual. So we want to give them the resources so that they can succeed. And so that's the one neat thing, is we're all working together. We're literally a phone call away from each other. I'll get a call from Mick or from Mike or from the court system or from Spectrum, and we coordinate it. And my piece that I'm really proud of is I'm able to house and provide housing to them, and that's a really important piece, a huge piece of the program.
Yeah.
It gives them a place to lay their head at night, structure, because we are clean and sober housing, they're required to go to meetings, we teach them life skills. So there's a lot of things we add to the rehabilitation, and it's really been great.
Yeah. How overall, I guess within the last year, how is the homeless situation here in Cottonwood? How is it currently?
I think it's improving.
Okay.
And like I was mentioning earlier, it's a different population. A lot of times they're in between housing, or they've lost housing, affordable housing, especially the senior citizens and sometimes the veterans. They're waiting for housing. They're waiting for the subsidized housing. So where do they go in between waiting for the subsidized housing and when they get the subsidized housing? So luckily we've been able to help with that, whether it be temporary at the homeless shelter, or they'll come and live in more of my permanent housing.
Yeah. And so now, how, I mean, in terms of operations, do you have employees, volunteers?
Volunteers, and that's a really neat thing. At my homeless shelter, I have a house manager. She volunteers. At my recovery homes, they're volunteer. 2 for women and 2 for men. They're house managers that are dedicated and really believe in what we're doing. And so they do the services, provide the house management, exchange for their living there.
Wow. And so you mentioned you have 10 homes, right? How many recovery?
It'd be 4.
Okay,
yeah,
4
2 for
recovery.
men and 2 for women.
Okay, so when you're talking about addiction help, of course, it seems like that is an extremely challenging thing to help somebody out who's facing addiction with whatever it may be. What have you found is the best way to deal with somebody like that and help them get kind of over that kind of bump in order to get clean?
I think the critical step 1 is to actually have them be ready. And once they're ready and they come in, is to have a place where they feel accepted and wanted, and then we give them the additional support, which we actually put them on a schedule. I mean, it's accountability. What time they get up in the morning, when they go to the meeting, when they go and do job search, when they come back and do another meeting, when they're home. It's all structured. When they go to the offsite counseling over at Spectrum, everything is put on a schedule. So it's actually retraining the brain to do something different. And that's the one key, is to actually have them come in and actually start changing.
Okay, yeah, and it's, you know, you talk about when you're changing, or you want to get in with a new group of people, or just change your environment to kind of get rid of some of those old tendencies,
right.
maybe.
And then the surrounding support, because the other individuals in the home are going through the same thing. So the ones who have been there a few months will be supportive to the new ones that have just come in. So that's the really neat aspect of having all of them together at one time, is they're all able to help each other and say, don't worry, it'll get better. You've only been here 2 days, it's a little rough. We're asking you to change everything you've done in your life, but it will get easier. And then you'll see the ones who are getting ready to graduate off, who will say, look how my life has changed from the moment I walked in here six months ago to now that I'm going to be moving on to my own place, and I have a great job, and I'm clean and sober. So.
Yeah, so how many people currently are in your homes?
In total, we provide housing to about 100 people in total with all the homes.
Great. Well, we're going to take our first break again. Angie's House, Angie Lozano in studio. Angie'sHouseAZ.com. Angie'sHouseAZ.com for information, or 928-301-2169. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. He'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Hello, I'm Jen Cohen, host of Verde Valley TV's hit TV show, The Verde Valley Experience. On each episode, we feature local organizations, nonprofits, persons of interest, events, activities, and great local musicians. It's informative, it's entertaining, it's fun. It's the Verde Valley Experience.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. In addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, sitting down with Angie Lozano. She's executive director of Angie's House, angieshouseaz.gov or .com, angieshouseaz.com for more information. So we were talking about services you offer, 10 homes, some of those recovery. You have, I mean, everything just from helping homeless people who are coming out, alternative sentencing we talked about with the Cottonwood Police Department, Spectrum Healthcare, all different organizations. But do you have any success stories on just the alternative sentencing?
Alternative sentencing. So we had a gentleman that came to us. He had been chronically homeless. He was a low-level offender, and so he moved in with us, and it was incredible. Within probably about a week and a half, he literally looked 15 years younger.
Wow.
Yeah. And he enjoyed the meetings because it was structure that we had him on. He had meetings, he had counseling to go to, and he stayed with us for 6 months, and he did really, really well. And the one thing about the program is we want to help them be efficient and independent. So at his 6-month program period, he could choose to stay, in which he was more than welcome to stay. He decided to move on. And so he ended up leaving our program, continued doing outpatient counseling with Spectrum. However, he was homeless again. Again, this was by choice, but this is also part of the program where we're giving them the opportunity to do it on their own and how they would prefer to do it.
You don't want to hold them against their will.
Right, exactly. Right? Well, unfortunately, he had fallen and he broke his leg. So he was in the hospital for a little while, and then lo and behold, he ended up coming back to stay with us. And the neat thing about it is he said, I need the support. I need the housing, number one. It was nice to be able to come home to a house, eat, prepare my meals, and I need the support from the other men. So that is the one thing I think was really neat, was that our part of the housing portion of the alternative sentencing program, even though he did try to go back to his, living homeless, he realized this was not working for him.
Wow.
So so he's back.
Oh, that's great. And the fact that he can just pick up the phone and give you a call and your door's open.
Come right back in.
Yeah. So now in terms of the program, you mentioned at one point he hit the 6-month part of the program. How long is the program, and how long can people stay in the homes?
Yeah. We suggest 6 months.
Okay.
Because it gives them an opportunity to grow and get a lot of things accomplished. However, they can stay as long as they need to. And I've had many residents in my home stay 3 and 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what if, do you ever have any issues with either people not showing up to the counseling or the just things that are required with the program? Do you ever have issues with that?
It's human nature. Sometimes sometimes they don't do the things that they really should do. But what we do is we do sanctions, which we give them sanctions that encourage them to do the things that they're supposed to do. So they may not be able to get a lot of free time if they're not going to their meetings. So there's a lot of accountability. It's encouragement. But then also sanctions if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Gotcha. And once somebody decides to leave, say leave the recovery home, is there a transitional housing as well?
we have transitional housing that they can actually transition into our housing, which is less supportive, less structure, but still clean and sober. So that's what's nice about it. We can make a smooth transition into different types of housing. And then, for instance, with my my senior citizens and my veterans, if they want to get into subsidized housing, we help them with that as well. We help them get on the list so that if, in fact, something comes up open in the subsidized housing, they're able to be on that list. However, the wait for that is 6 months to 2 years. And the other thing that sometimes holds them back is that they have pets, and we're pet friendly, and so sometimes living arrangements where they're wanting to move into don't allow pets. So that's why a lot of times they've turned into permanent residents with me, which I'm more than happy to have them.
Okay, great. And now, in addition to the transitional housing, if say I've been in the program for 6 months or a year, I've been staying with you, I want to go off and get my own place, but I don't have a job. Maybe I need help with other services. Can you provide, or kind of guide me in the right direction to find employment in whatever it may be?
Yes, and the neat thing about our program is that is the first thing when you come into the program. is we help you get employment. We put you on a schedule for job search.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the neat thing, because my whole goal is to help the individuals become completely self-sufficient. I mean, that is my goal, so that they don't have to worry about where they're going to be. They have a job and they can support themselves. So that is the first thing that we start working on, counseling as well as getting employment.
Now, do you have certain employers in the community that you work with?
Yeah, actually the neat thing about Cottonwood is they are willing to employ all of our individuals, even if they have felony backgrounds, which is wonderful about our community, is they are very open to employing our residents. Huh. Yeah, and so they can usually find a job within a week.
Really?
Yes. Of course, we put them on a stringent job search schedule,
right. Yeah.
which means, they're up in the morning by 6, out the door by 6:30. So this is they're on a schedule. So what I say is, if you don't have a job, then your job is to get a job.
Right.
And that is literally working on it every day, 7 days a week until they're employed. But once they're employed, that's half the battle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives them, when you talk about, for certain types of people, if you're dealing with addiction, and you're trying to get over that, sometimes having something to occupy your time.
Exactly.
Right, in an environment such as, working,
exactly.
wherever it is.
And
I imagine, sorry, but for the employer, looking to hire somebody who's already been through Angie's house, and whatever program it may be, or just living with you during that time, that probably adds, that carries some weight with it in terms of the type of the type of service that they've been part of, and the work that they've already put in to try and, whether it's get clean or just get back up on their feet. I imagine that helps with the employer.
It does, and the neat thing is the employer, we have a really great reputation in town. The employer knows that we are really into them showing up for work every day when they're supposed to be, and being clean and sober. So they're not only getting a responsible employee, but they're getting someone who's clean and sober, who's going to be fully attentive at work, and who knows that they need to be, showing up to work every day.
Yeah, and when you talk about veterans, I mean, those people, of course, they know how to work right already. So it's just a matter of trying to get them connected with an employer. Now, how is this all funded? How do you, where donations, how does that work?
And we're self-funded, but as well as we qualify for the Arizona State Tax Credit, and so we really can't do it alone. So we do need help. And so if anyone wants to donate, they can donate on our website. And then it's a dollar for dollar tax credit off their Arizona state taxes, which is really wonderful. It's a really wonderful thing we're able to do. Yeah, and you know where your money's going. You know exactly what it's doing, and it's going to a great cause and very successful. I imagine if you got a lot of people here. You mentioned that the homeless population here seems to be improving a little bit, right, in the Verde Valley? Yes, it is improving. It is improving. But I also think it's because it's a collaborative effort to help them get from homelessness back to housed. Yeah, I mean, I imagine for the people that truly are homeless because of whatever circumstances happen in their life, really starting the process to find a job, to find a place to live when you don't have a place to live, I imagine starting that process is extremely difficult, and trying to figure out where to go, services, nobody's going to want to talk to me because I don't, have a house or whatever, but the fact that you and somebody can call you up after being in your house, whenever it is, 2 in the morning or whatever, and you're available and with open arms and an open door, that's got to be very nice and comforting for those people out there. So we're going to take our second break. Again, Angie's House here in studio. Angie Lozano, Executive Director, AngiesHouseAZ.com, AngiesHouseAZ.com to donate, or just for more information on this organization. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes. Hey, it's Bruno Mars. Ed Sheeran. What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber. You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Hello, I'm Jen Cohen, host of Verde Valley TV's hit TV show, The Verde Valley Experience. On each episode, we feature local organizations, nonprofits, persons of interest, events, activities, and great local musicians. It's informative, it's entertaining, it's fun. It's the Verde Valley Experience.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. In addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Welcome back to Countywide. Angie's House in studio. We got the executive director of Angie's House, Angie Lozano, here talking about all the services offered, transitional housing, recovery homes, everything.
Permanent housing.
Permanent housing, yeah, 10 homes across the Verde Valley. And then you also help with people who are transitioning out of Angie's House, help out with employment. You also help with whatever services they may need. Correct. So you mentioned volunteers. Volunteers really kind of seem like the backbone of your organization. Do you need volunteers currently? And you mentioned earlier, but what are some of the things that volunteers do?
Yeah, the one neat thing that would really, really help out is currently we have a lot of senior citizens and veterans that are without a vehicle. And if anyone would be interested in providing a trip to the store, a trip to the post office, I mean, if they're going in that direction anyway, that would be great if they would be able to offer that, because some of the senior citizens would definitely benefit from something like that.
Now, when you look at a volunteer, what do you think a volunteer needs to have in order to be part of Angie's House?
Literally just a willingness to want to help. And it can be as small as simply dropping off a meal at the homeless shelter, or coming by and dropping off a pillow, or being willing to take someone to the store.
And interested volunteers can contact you directly?
928-301-2169.
There you go, perfect. I didn't have to say it off. Now, another question I have is, every community seems to have their challenges with the homeless population. Are you ever contacted from outside communities for help, or
yes,
really?
Constantly.
How does that work?
Well, they usually the social service agency or the person who has been referred to me actually by the social service agency, either in Prescott, Flagstaff, Sedona, and they'll call. And we've actually even gotten calls from Phoenix area,
really?
Knowing that we have the housing up here and that we're pet friendly. Yeah, so that's been amazing. There's contacts, and so that's the good thing, is our name's getting out there, and they know that there's services available, and they can call and be housed that day, which is great.
Yeah.
So we're usually an answer to we're the solution.
Right, if you have the space. I mean, it seems like one of the challenges, you have a lot of people that want to help. And I mean, and not just here in the Verde Valley, but up in Flagstaff, even down in Phoenix, I imagine you have all these people that want to help, but sometimes finding an actual place to house these people is extremely difficult.
It is extremely difficult, and the one thing I pride myself in doing is, if we're not able to help them, I can usually refer them to another agency or organization that can. So that's the nice thing about I've been doing this for so long that I'm able to kind of figure out, okay, well, I may not be able to help you, but this is an organization you can call and receive some help.
Yeah, no, what's great I think about it is, it's not, Angie's House isn't just housing. Right. As you've talked about throughout the show, I mean, it's more, it's providing services, getting them in contact with people that they should be talking to in order for employment, just to get help with addiction or whatever it may be. So again, run by volunteers, angieshouseaz.com for more information. You can also give Angie a call at 928-301-2169. That's going to do it for today's Countywide. I want to thank Angie for coming in, and we will talk and see you next time.